This is also an important week here in North Carolina as we are now in the midst of Hurricane Preparedness Week. Now, we're about a month out from the start of hurricane season, which runs from the beginning of June to the end of November. In the Atlantic basin, in the Eastern Pacific, it actually starts on May 15th. So we're getting to that time of year where we start keeping an eye on the tropics. And this is a good time before the season starts to get you ready for the upcoming hurricane season. It's really important to have a plan in place because, like with anything, you don't want to wait to the last minute when there's a storm brewing and you don't have your plan together. So right now is the time to do it, especially since we do have time on our hands. We can start doing some of the stuff at home without a whole lot of other things needed. So today, meteorologist Aisha Scott is going to talk about Hurricane Preparedness Week. Every day this week, there's a different topic. I'll be posting those on Facebook and Twitter throughout the week to kind of get you ready for the beginning of hurricane season. Here is Aisha.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm meteorologist Aisha Scott, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to prepare for hurricane season. Now, believe it or not, hurricane season starts in less than 1 month. That's right, in less than 1 month. It actually starts June 1st and it ends November 30th. Now, it is during this period that we see the bulk of our tropical activity. Now, our biggest increase in tropical activity is late August into September, but the peak of hurricane season is actually right around September 10th. So although our hurricane season runs from June to November, we could see storms develop occasionally outside of this time frame. On average, we have 12 tropical storms, 6 hurricanes, and 3 major hurricanes that form over the Atlantic basin. The Atlantic basin includes the Atlantic Ocean, the Caribbean Sea, and the Gulf of Mexico. But keep in mind, some seasons are below average, other seasons are above average. 2020 is actually looking like it may shape up to be an above average hurricane season. Now let's talk about some of the hazards. We all know, especially if you've experienced hurricanes, the main hazards that we think about are the heavy rain and also gusty winds. But there are other hazards that we need to talk about, like storm surge. Storm surge is when water is pushed onshore by a tropical system. We talked about the winds, right? But hurricane winds can actually top 200 miles per hour. Also, we have to consider inland flooding. The inland flooding is actually caused by the heavy rain from the tropical systems. It could actually damage homes and it could wash away roads as well. Now, tornadoes are common as a hurricane moves onshore, and then we also have to pay close attention to rip currents and rough surf, not only before a hurricane, but also after a hurricane moves over that particular area. So make sure that you are not swimming in any rough surf either before or after a hurricane. So let's talk about your emergency kit. So we're going to talk about several things that you should have in your kit. However, if you don't see something or you think, maybe I should add this to my kit or swap out some things, that's perfectly fine. But in general, here are some things that you want to have. A flashlight. You want to have extra batteries for that flashlight. So make sure any electronics that you do have, you don't have to plug them in. You want to make sure that you have plenty of water, that your food is non-perishable. You have a radio. A first aid kit is a must. A car charger, a whistle, even a helmet is very helpful to have in your emergency kit. Have a communication plan, not only with the people that live in your home, so your household, but also have a communication plan with your neighbors. Now, you also want to learn your evacuation route. Learn how far you have to travel if you do have to evacuate. You want to also leave when told to do so. Don't waste any time waiting around. Communicate your plan also with someone who is not in the storm's path, and don't forget your pets. You want to make sure that you have a plan for them as well. Now, when it comes to securing your property, you want to make sure that you trim or cut down any trees beforehand. Have the proper materials to board up any windows, and also look around your yard. Do you have any items that could easily fly away and damage either your property or your neighbor's property? Make sure if you do, you tie those items down if you cannot bring them inside. Also, if you do have any vehicles that you are not taking with you or that you're not using to evacuate, that you move them inside into a garage or that you can secure them in a nice, secure place.
Thanks, Aisha. Yeah, some great tips there as we get ready for hurricane season, which I can't believe is almost here. So we're getting close to that time of the year where we start looking at the tropics. The good news is right now there's nothing brewing in the tropics. In fact, what's interesting about our weather pattern over the next couple of days, we're going to go back to kind of more of a winter pattern here for May. Temperatures 15 to 20 degrees below average coming up, going into the end of the week, into the upcoming weekend. So everybody who thought, hey, we're going right into summer, especially after the 80s yesterday and the 80s today, far from it. We're going to get a blast of cold air and maybe a late season frost or freeze.